All right. Was just a couple people wondered about fractions to decimals, but we are looking at 9/6 divide by 10, 100, and 1,000. And mentioned it before. Some of you were looking back and forth here and realized we did something similar here, which we did. 9-1. 9-6, the only difference is multiply by 10, 100, 1,000, divide by 10, 100, 1,000. Just going back to the example here, 350 thousandths times 10, when you're multiplying or dividing by powers of 10, you don't really need to do any multiplying or dividing per se. It's just about sliding the decimals around. So if I multiply by 10, we move our decimal one spot to the right. If I multiply by 100, we move our decimal 2 spots to the right. If I multiply by 1,000, I move my decimal 3 spots to the right. And we went through a variety of different things here. I mean, this multiplying by 10, 6, and 90/100ths. I showed you the long way how it would look. 10 times 300ths, 3/10. Powers of 10. I broke it down even further on this side here, where 20 is 2/10. 10 times 4/10 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. So we realized that whole numbers here that may not be tens per se, I can still turn them into powers of 10. 6 times 100, there's my power of 10, 100. Times 3/10, move the decimal 2 spots. 6 times 30, 6 times 3 is 18, add a 0, 180. How that all worked. So dividing is going the other direction here. And if we look at number 1, we'll have an opportunity. It says 198 divided by 10. So I'm just going to write out a number here, and we're going to go both up and down here. And I'll just take the number 198. Okay. And we're going to go both up and down with this here, and we're going to see how this works. So we know that anything we multiply by 1 or divide by 1 is just the same answer, right? Doesn't really matter what we do. Multiply by 1, divide by 1, the answer doesn't change. 198 times 10 equals what? Right, here's my decimal officially right there. And then when I multiply by 10, I move that decimal 1 spot to the right, 1,980. What's 198 times 100? Somebody besides Roland. Uriah.
198.
Too big. George.
Stretching.
Anyway, it shouldn't be that hard to do. Not Roland.
19,800.
Right, there's my decimal. Add a couple zeros, 1, 2. There's the number 19,800.
Oh, I was confused because when Uriah said 100,
He was going for 198,000, I think. What's 198 times 1,000? Ella. 198,000. And again, you can see again if there was a decimal there, 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3, move it 1, 2, 3. You can probably see a pattern forming here at this point. So let's continue down. Now, dividing, because they're all less than 1. So dividing by 10. And again, hopefully you see a pattern going on here, but 198, there is my decimal. When I multiply, which way does the decimal go? Which way?
does it go to the right?
It goes to the right, because the number is getting larger. And again, this is how it would be for numbers greater than 1. So it'll move to the right here. But all 3 of these, it moved to the right 1 spot, moved to the right 2 spots, moved to the right 3 spots. Now I'm dividing by 10. So which way do you think the decimal is going to go? When I multiply, it goes to the right, to the left. And if I'm dividing by 10, how many spots to the left do you think it's going to go? 1. 1, 0. So basically my decimal is going to go this way. So 198 divided by 10 is 19 and 8/10. What's 198 divided by 100? Right.
It is 1 and 98 hundredths.
Right, because again, here's my decimal. Dividing by 100, move the decimal. How many spots? 2 zeros, 2 spots, 1 spot, 2 spots. There it is, right there. What's 198 divided by 1,000? George? 198 thousandths, right. Because again, 3, 1, 2, and 3. Here's where my decimal now goes, right that time. So every single one of these, I started with 198, 198, 198, and up and down I went here. But you can use this table here, or be able to kind of see the pattern that's forming here. In future years, we'll understand about reciprocals a little better. We saw them with dividing, but dividing by 10 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/10. They are one and the same, because you just do the old flip a roodle doodle when you're dividing stuff, right? Well, it works with whole numbers too. So you can see, again, this is where we started. When I multiply or divide by 1, it's 198. But when I multiply by values greater than 1, powers of 10, the decimal just moves however many decimals to the right. And then when I'm dividing, it moves, again, to the left. Numbers are getting smaller dividing by these types of numbers. Powers of 10. Okay? So let's see what you guys can do with some of these here. So I'm looking down here, 11 through 26. And this table, I think, should provide all the information we need. I don't really see the point of making another table. I guess I'll let you guys make one. So try number 2. Right at the top. So it says n is 64. If I divide that by 10, what do I get? If I divide that by 100, what do I get? And then if I divide it by 1,000, at least in my book, it looks like they already did it for us. So there it is, divided by 1,000. Or I'm sorry, it's wrong one. Be this point. There we go.
Where'd you get the point? Like 007.
From number 3. So 64 divided by 10, 64 divided by 100, 64 divided by 1,000 has been done for you. What am I missing here, Noah? 64 divided by 10?
64 divided by 10 would be 6 and 4/10.
6 and 4/10. And Noah, what about 100?
64. Or, no, 6400.
Right, 64 hundredths. And of course, dividing by 1,000.
64,000.
Right. So again, all I did was move the decimal 1 spot to the left, moved it 2 spots to the left, moved it 3 spots to the left. Easy enough? Yeah? Okay. So looking down at the bottom of page 304 here, 11 through 26 is where we're at. Let's just put a few out there. Let's do the first column there, 11, 15, 19, and 23. 11. 6 hundredths divided by 10. 15. 32 divided by 100. 19. 4 divided by 1,000. 23. 68 and 3/10 divided by 10. we're all close here. So you can just tell me the final answer here. Number 11, George, what do I got for a final answer?
6,000.
Right, 6,000. 1, 2, 3. Just like with the multiplying, when we're dividing, it's up to us to insert that place value 0 to make sure that we get that 6 in the right place value here, because I gotta, again, move it one spot to the left there. 15, Roland.
15, 3 and 2 tenths.
Nope.
Um,
So here's my decimal. How many spots do I gotta move it?
oh, to the, 32,000.
Nope.
You gotta move it to the left.
How far?
Oh,
1,
okay.
2.
3,200.
32 hundredths, right. 32 hundredths is what it should be there, just moving it 2 spots to the left. 19, Ella.
19?
Yep,
4,000.
4 thousandths, right. So again, it's up to us. There it was, 1, 2, 3. That's where my decimal should be. Moved it 3 spots to the left, 4 thousandths. Lauren, 23.
683.
That would be multiplying times 10.
Oh, then 683 hundredths.
Right. Right. Dividing by 10. Dividing by 10 there. What else is there to tell you here? So we'll go to the other side here. Figure out the missing power of 10. So 27 says 2 and 8 hundredths divided by n equals 208 thousandths. So first thing I would notice here is the non-zero numbers aren't changing. 208, 208, which means I didn't multiply by 8. The only thing that changed is the decimal moved. But from here to here, how many spots did the decimal move? 1. And if it moves 1 spot to the left, what power of 10 associates with that? Right. So in this case, n equals 10. Because again, where did I start? Where did I end? Okay. Well, how many spots did the decimal move from here to here? 1. Which direction? To the left. What does that mean? I divided by 10 when it goes that way. You guys can try numbers 28 and 31. 1 and 8 tenths divided by n equals 18 thousandths. 865 divided by n equals 865 thousandths. What is n in both of these scenarios here?
We're doing 28 and 31.
28 and 31, right. Stella stick.
Can I do 31?
Michaela, do you want to try one of these?
Yeah.
Which one? Oh, speak faster, otherwise I'm
31.
moving on. 31, okay. Ella, 28. What did I divide by?
Oh,
Or I guess it should have been Uriah. Uriah, what did I divide by?
100.
Right, because that decimal moved 1, 2.
2.
There's my 2 spots. That must mean I divided by 100. Michaela, how many spots did the decimal move?
1.
Well, here it is here, and here it is where it ended up.
3.
1, 2, 3, because that's where it is now, right? So if I move it 3 spots to the left, what did I divide by?
3.
What?
I was at 10.
Anybody, what did I divide by?
1,000.
1,000, right. Yep. If you move it one spot, that's by 10, 2 spots, right or left. That's 100, and 3 spots is 1,000, of course. 4 spots would be 10,000, 5 spots would be 100,000. I could multiply by 100,000, divide by 100,000, just have to count out 5 spots though, one way or the other, depending if I'm multiplying or dividing there. All right, last part here. Down at the bottom, 37. We've done this type of thing before here. This time they're showing us the power of 10 that we're dividing by. What they're not showing us is where did we begin this whole thing here. So in a sense, you need to kind of go the opposite direction with your answer to undo. So where did I start? I divided by 100, and that's where my decimal ended up. So 37, A, B, C, D, F, I'll just call it 37A. It says n divided by 100 equals 21 thousandths. And if I'm looking at this here, I should be able to say to myself, well, when I divide by 100, that just meant I moved the decimal 2 spots to the left. So if I want to get back to where I started, I should just move my decimal 2 spots to the right. And where did that put me here? At 2 and 1/10. And easy to check here. If I take 2 and 1/10, divide by 100, my decimal should move 2 spots to the left. 1 spot, 2 spots. And that's right back to where I'm started here. So n would be 2 and 1/10. Basically, I divided by 100, meant I moved my decimal 2 spots to the left. So if this is where it is after I've already moved it 2 spots to the left, the question is, where is it when I started this whole thing? I need to move it back 2 spots to the right, figure out where I started from. Most of the time we're figuring out where we end, right? All this stuff, 9 divided by 10, 5 divided by 100. Where do we end? That's normally what you do. But if you're trying to figure out where did we start, well, then you got to go the other direction here. And we had a similar lesson to this, too, about working problems backwards. One of our lessons, and we kind of saw how it looks when we went forward to the end, but if we go to the end, we're basically do the exact opposite of every single thing. Right? All right, so you guys try numbers, what do we do here? B and E. So B, n divided by 10 equals 35 hundredths. And E, n divided by 1,000 equals 2 and 6 thousandths. Question to you is, where did we start? Where did we start? These 2 problems here, what am I missing from here? Huh?
I was doing them while you were talking.
I just did all of them.
Throw everybody back in the cup here. Last 2 problems, and we're calling it a day. Tomorrow we'll get into actually doing some dividing work. Next 3 lessons all have dividing work in them here, but that's pretty much the end of the chapter. So 4 days with multiplying, the first day power of tens, and 3 days of actual multiplying. Very similar with division. 4 days, first day playing with powers of 10 stuff, next 3 days actually doing some dividing, setting up the division bar type work here. And I'll show you how that works. All right, B, what am I missing? Where did I start this thing? Uriah.
B,
Yes.
we started it on 3 and 5/10.
That's exactly correct.
Times 10 is 3,500.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's good. In a sense, going this way means I'm multiplying by 10. You know, that's exact what he just told me, and he is exactly right. We're doing the opposite order, going the opposite direction. So in a sense, We're just multiplying by 10, going that way there. All right, E, what is N, George?
It is 206.
Not quite. Noah?
20 and 600, or tens.
Nope. Ella?
I can't read mine. You can just go on.
I can wait for you. Shouldn't be that hard for anybody. You don't really need any.
Oh.
If I'm going this way, what am I doing? By?
3.
Not by 3. Multiplying by 1,000. Roland, what is it?
2006.
Right. Again, 2006. There it is. If I divide by 1,000, there's my decimal. If I divide by 1,000, it goes 1, 2, and 3. There's where my decimal would be. That is where the decimal is. I moved my decimal 3 spots to the left. So to undo it, I just move my decimal 3 spots to the right. 3 decimal spots. Okay. All right, homework's up there, 1 through 23. Shouldn't be too difficult of an assignment, I wouldn't think. Shouldn't take too long either. So hopefully we all have it done tomorrow. You guys are doing pretty good with your homeworks. Better than the 6th and 7th grade, that's for sure.
6, 7.
7th grade, only 1 of the 4 had it done today,
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
which happened last week too. Only 1 of the 4 of them had their homework